We're back better than ever. Of course, you know we are live at the Den where it is seriously entertaining, but we like to educate, so we got a little bit of edutainment going on. Entertaining, education, all at the same time. And of course, we are Mr.
and Mrs.
Smith, and you are now tuned in to We Are Royalty. Even though we say we are royalty, that means that you are royalty as well. So when you tune in to us, hopefully we give you something of value, something that makes you feel royal. Hopefully we make you recognize that you have royalty embedded in your DNA. So we just want to wake that up within you, and we like to focus on the economic empowerment portion of being royal because that's the foundation. Once you get your finances in order, your foundation in order, now you're in a better position to accomplish and knock out any other issues that come your way. So that's what we like to focus on, economic empowerment. And we got a good one for you today. It's three questions you need to ask yourself. Queen, you got something you want to introduce them to?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted to just touch on real fast what you said about when we say we are royalty, we aren't just speaking of us,
right?
Okay, our mindsets are already there. We know that we are royalty, but we're speaking of each and every person that's watching this video, that shares this video, anybody that we encounter. We really need you guys to understand that you are royalty, all right? And there's a lot of components to being royalty, all right? It's bigger than just kind of knowing where you come from and embracing yourself. You got to get your money in order, you guys. Finances are a huge factor of being what we consider royalty, all right? So what we want everybody to do, just take a moment. We want you to invite. We want you to share, please. You can share it on your page. You can share it in one of your favorite financial education groups, because I promise you, they aren't teaching what we're teaching, all right? Not to be cocky. They just aren't, okay? And they don't do it with as much flavor.
It's much spaz. Absolutely.
You know, I think we're pretty fly. So share, you guys. I want you to invite, and also let us know where you are tuning in from. All right. We talk to people all over the nation, right? Wouldn't you love to have your state in the mix? All right. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Invite. And in the meantime, listen, y'all. We gave you a call to action at the end of our last video, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We told you to pull your credit report. Pull your credit report. So as you guys are hopping on, let us know if you pulled that credit report, all right? Did you do your homework, all right? Let us know. Again, you guys have some thumbs and some hearts floating across the screen, and we will get started. You want to go ahead and take them away?
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback on the last week's episode, if you do not know, last week we talked about the how-tos of credit. We literally gave you about 8 steps mainly that will get you in the direction to bettering your credit. So if you did not watch that episode, then you want to watch it, and you want to tag some people to it who are serious about bettering your credit. And then that way you can carry out the homework assignment that we gave. But for those of you who were tuned in, then you already know what we told you or requested or suggested or challenged you to do. So hopefully you did it. Hopefully you're at least starting on the journey to better credit. If you had any questions, feel free to still ask us those questions and we can get you pointed in the right direction. But today, like she said, it's all about letting you know that you are royalty, but you got to start asking yourself questions. You see, when I grew up, I was always told that it was crazy for a person to talk to themselves. But as I grew older and grew wiser, I realized that, you know, it's okay to talk to yourself. You got to ask yourself certain questions, and that is what draws out the answers that you're seeking, the wisdom within, you know, the higher source, the God within, the royalty within. But you all have to start with asking yourself questions. So we got 3 questions that we want to ask. If you're ready for those questions, go ahead and start typing in the comments. Let the thumbs and hearts float across the screen. But type in the comments, hey, I'm ready for the first question. Unless you got something else you want to break to them. Keep sharing and tagging people to the video who you feel may benefit from understanding that they are royalty and understanding what it means to have financial stability. Because the questions that you're going to ask really is what's going to connect you to having some type of financial stability. We're still sharing on our end, tagging on our end. So you do the sharing and tagging and let us know if you're ready for those 3 questions.
Yes, most definitely, you guys. So very first question that we need every single person to ask themselves: how much money are you comfortable with right now in your working years, how much money are you comfortable with every single month? I want you to ask yourself that question. How much money are you comfortable with? You want to add anything to that, Marcus? You want me to just keep going for a second?
Keep going for a second. Keep going.
Okay. So think about this, you guys. I'm asking you how much money you are comfortable with every single month. I need you to really sit down and really think about this. Now, this one seems like a simple one, but again, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about how much money you're paying towards your rent or your mortgage, how much money you're paying towards your utilities. If you have children, Lord knows you need your money, okay? On top of that, if you're paying a car note, if you're paying car insurance, if you're paying life insurance, what are the things that you're paying monthly? So you need to total all of those things up first, because obviously you're comfortable with that. And then I want you to kind of think about, are you living paycheck to paycheck? Are you barely making it? Are you a little bit under? Are you late on bills? Are you kind of letting them roll over to the next month? What is your situation? How much more money on top of covering all of the necessities do you need to just be comfortable? If you decided you wanted to go out to eat a couple of times, if you decided you wanted, to treat yourself or treat your kids to something every month, okay, one thing every month, how much additional income would you be okay with to make that possible? Okay. So if you think about that, you're adding up all of your necessities. And then on top of that, you're adding up, okay, on top of that, how much more would I like? How much more would I like to have? Okay. So that should give you a pretty hefty number. I mean, when you think about it, I even put in some splurging in there.
Absolutely.
And we ain't even about splurging, but I put it in there just to give you guys perspective. I saw a video today, and it was really touching about a young lady who passed at the age of like 27, and she wrote this letter literally 24 hours before she passed. And some of the things that she was saying in her letter was, it really touched on doing things that make you happy, that makes your family happy, giving opposed to receiving so much. So all of that should be factored into what you would be comfortable with and what would make you happy month after month after month. If you only receive that amount during your working years, okay, we're only speaking of right now while you have your job or while you have your business or whatever it is that you do, how much money are you happy with every month? And you don't have to tell us. We just want you to write down these 3 questions, okay? So that's question number 1.
Absolutely. So if you're writing it down, just write it in first person as if you're talking to yourself. How much money am I comfortable with today? And if you're not comfortable with what you currently have, then write that down. Let it be known, so that way you can start working towards solutions. You see, the questions that you ask yourself are in place so that you can get answers and start drawing in those answers. And naturally, once you throw the question out there and you write it down, you make it plain, you'll start seeing the solutions being presented to you. And now it's just a matter of you taking the necessary action to make those things happen. So if your ends aren't meeting, then that means that you need more income. The question now is, what are you going to do to acquire that new additional income? Yes. If you have more than enough, then the question now is, okay, you have what you're comfortable with. Now the question is, okay, what can I do to make this even better for myself? Can I do some things that'll make me happier? Just find where you are. That's the answer that only you have. So it's important for you to ask yourself that question. So that's question number 1. Are you currently happy with the income that you currently are receiving? And if not, it's all about adding to it. And we'll get deeper into that, but that's the first question. Let us know if you're ready for question number 2. If you are, type 2s in the comments, the comments, so we can give you question number 2 that you have to ask yourself. Remember, these are questions that you must ask you. This is a question between you and you. So you can lay it all out on the line without feeling any form of, of embarrassment. Just ask yourself these questions, and that's the only way we can get to the solution. We're solution oriented. So that's what we like to focus on.
Yes. So, you guys, as we stated when we first popped off this show, okay, what was it, 3 or 4 episodes ago, it all starts with you. You have to know, you have to understand, you have to come to that realization with yourself. You have to realize it's all about you knowing where you currently are before you can really game plan where you're going. Okay, you can't do that if you're running. If you're like, okay, all I know is I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I don't count my money. I just pay my bills. As long as my bills are paid, I'm comfortable. That's not a good mindset for you to have, because guess what? Emergencies are going to come. You cannot stop an emergency from happening. You cannot stop being laid off from your job. You cannot stop being sick. You cannot stop your kids getting sick. And it's crazy because the flu is going around
like crazy
this year. I don't remember seeing and hearing of so many people having the flu this year, especially like the entire family. Like, we all caught it, us and the twins. But let me stay on subject. You have to know where you are. You cannot stop emergencies from happening. And if you don't know where you are, how are you going to prepare? So we need y'all to man up. We need y'all to woman up. Get your numbers, write them down, and let's just see where we are currently in order for us to game plan where we're going to go.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Number 2. This is a question you must ask yourself.
Yes.
How much am I comfortable with living with after I'm done working or when I retire? So that number may be different from your current income, and hopefully it is. I think it should be. But the question you're asking yourself is, okay, when I retire, what's the least amount of money that I need in order to make sure I'm comfortable during my non-working years? So, for example, if you currently make $4,000 a month, just throwing that number out there, you make $4,000 a month, and let's just say, okay, that's good for now, but when I retire, I actually want $6,000 per month coming into my household, right? Because that $6,000 will allow me to do X, Y, Z, on a month-to-month basis. Whatever your number is, you choose it for yourself. But hopefully that number is larger. And the reason why I say hopefully is because if you remember, we talked about a little bit about one of the challenges that most people are hit with, and that's inflation. So basically what that means is when you retire, things are going to cost more because of inflation. So you probably want your number to be higher than your current income, because when things go up in price, you're good to go because your income also went up in price. But it doesn't happen unless you understand, look, I need to have a certain amount of money in my retirement years. Right. And then you have to understand, is my job going to provide that via pensions? Is my 401k going to provide that via, the payments that come from that? Is my investments going to provide that? If you have investments, if you don't, then you definitely want to look into getting investments. Is my businesses or any businesses or assets that I have going to help provide that? And just add it all up. Because a lot of times people find out the hard way when they retire, wow, I needed $6,000 per month. But my retirement, my pension, my Social Security is only going to give me $2,000. So they're way off the mark. But had they asked themselves that question in advance, like we're requesting that you do, then they would have knew, okay, Social Security, pension is going to provide me with $2,000. I need to find something that's going to provide me with the additional $4,000 that I desire in my retirement years. And how do you plan to get there? So just to kind of reiterate the question, how much do you feel you will be comfortable with during your retirement, non-working years per month? Talk to him, Queen. I know you got something.
I mean, here's the thing, you guys. As it pertains to retirement, you also have to understand there is no age that's too soon to start planning.
Absolutely.
It's so crazy. Like when I hear people say, I'm still in my 20s. When I hear people say, you're too young to be thinking about retirement. Excuse me? So am I supposed to wait until I'm 30, 40, 50 like you and then, panic about being too late? Okay? So it's never too soon to start planning for retirement, and it's also never too late. As long as you're breathing and you're working on it and you're applying the strategies and you're disciplined and you're consistent, it's no such thing as, I guess I waited too late. Oh, I'm too old. We did a video a while back about the 4 quarters, okay? Yep. So for every, what was it? It was like the first quarter was 20 to 30, yep. Age 20 to 30. The second quarter was 30 to 40. The third quarter was 40 to 50. And then the fourth quarter was 50 to 60.
Absolutely.
Okay. And we put how much money you should have working for you.
Absolutely.
When you hit each of those quarters, okay? So by the time you make it to the end of 30, you're supposed to have this much money working for you. And you guys, we was receiving feedback like, oh, I'm already in the third quarter, or I'm in the fourth quarter. Maybe I waited too late. No, you're still living.
Mm-hmm.
Be grateful that you are in a quarter.
In a
right?
quarter, absolutely.
Be grateful you in the game.
Do
you hear me?
Get off the bench. You're in the game.
It is no such thing as being too late, okay? It's no such thing as preparing too soon, okay? You should always be thinking about where I'm going to go, what I want to be in life, how much money I need, how happy am I going to be? Am I okay working for somebody? Am I more satisfied working for myself? You know, these are things that you need to think about as soon as possible. Okay, as soon as possible. Business ownership isn't for everybody, but working a job isn't for everybody either. And I see a lot of young people aspiring to get into entrepreneurship. So many more people are just kind of opening up their minds to, man, I can make money this way, or man, I'm talented in this area. Let me see if I can make some sales. And the faster you actually hone in on that, especially as a parent, if you see that gift or that talent or that skill in your children, the sooner you can like really focus in on that and really just feed into them, you can develop them a whole lot sooner.
Absolutely.
And a whole lot faster. You'll know, oh, okay, they desire to do that, but they don't want to be a business owner. They don't want to turn that into a business venture. It's just something that they like doing for fun. So you can actually, you'll be able to kind of see that in them early in the game. But you guys, it's never too early to plan for retirement, and never too late. You're never too late as long as you are living. And then one of my favorite things to say, keep in mind, you're not just doing it for you. Okay? You're not just doing it for you. So even if you are in your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, you also have to look at, what am I leaving behind for the future generations? Yeah, I'm working hard, but I'm doing it for them. Okay? So we're talking about retirement as well as we're talking about generational wealth. It's never too soon or too late to start on those things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to kind of piggyback on it never being too late, as well as entrepreneurship kind of being popular, more people are opening their mind to it. You see, entrepreneurship is kind of the wave. It's kind of trendy. A lot of people are gravitating towards it due to the fact that it's being publicized more and gratified more, and people are doing deals directly with individual entrepreneurs. So the entrepreneurs are starting to realize that they don't necessarily have to go through someone in order to have a large platform or in order to be successful.
Right.
So it's a strong wave that's going on. And it can also take place no matter what age you are. So if you feel like you're too late or too, early to get in the game and start working on your retirement, the same relates to entrepreneurship. And what I mean is, a person can get into entrepreneurship as young as they would like to. And if you're older, then you got a lot of wisdom that you can probably share or teach on, and topics and things that you can turn into some type of business venture that will allow you to create another form of income. And that all ties back into, once you look at your numbers and you ask yourself, what's the least amount of money that I'll be comfortable with during my non-working years? Now you can determine, okay, Social Security isn't going to do it. My pension isn't going to do it. So retirement, based on the current game plan I have in place, is not going to be enough. But I do have some entrepreneurial skill sets. I do have the entrepreneurial bug. I do have some things that I can provide, some value that I can give that can allow me to create the cash flow that I need in order to retire comfortably. So keep that in mind. Entrepreneurship gives you a vehicle to create what you're missing. So don't sleep on different opportunities that will allow you to create the cash flow, the income that you're missing in order to meet and exceed the income goal that you set out for yourself during your retirement years. Keep that in mind. Now, as it relates to it also being, not too late to start on your retirement, you got to understand, and this is actually going to transition into the third question, but just make note of this. Retirement is not based on age. It's based on money. So when we say your retirement years, your non-working years, don't automatically associate that with age. However, the question that we ask next will kind of tie it all together. Now, I like to say that retirement is not based on age, it's based on money. But if you're still watching this video, or you're still able to breathe, or you're in some form of a quarter, meaning you're still alive, still breathing, still have the abilities to do certain things, then you got what's called energy. And if as long as you got energy, then the age doesn't matter. So don't get, boxed in by your age. A lot of people are boxed in by their age. Look, retirement is not based on age, it's based on money. And age is not based on number, it's based on energy. So as long as you got some type of energy and the ability to contribute, the ability to make someone else's life better, or whatever the case may be, due to what you have to provide, then you can step into the entrepreneurship role and create the gap that you're missing, or at least learn and do some things, put some stuff in place, some assets in place that can be passed down, as well as give you the additional cash flow that you need. So if you're ready for number 3, and I know the queen might have something else to add, but if you're ready for number 3, go ahead and start rolling those 3s in the comments. 3s in the comments. This is going to be the last question, and we'll tie it all together and make it all make sense. Yes. So you can really get answers to those questions that you ask yourself, but at the same time, start putting in some action. It's one thing for you to get answers to the questions that you ask yourself, but if you never take the actions, then the questions that you ask yourself were pointless. And the answers that we gave you fell on deaf ears, and nothing like us giving you information and it falling on deaf ears. We love it when somebody gets some results, some benefits, or some testimonies from some information that we share. So 3s in the comments, and we're going to transition into the final question and then tie it all together and make it make sense.
Yes, and if somebody would be so kindly too, and I'm sure somebody is already doing this in the comments, list the 3 questions in the comments for us.
Absolutely.
And if y'all have any questions, make sure you also type those in the comments, and we do not mind answering those questions live. All right. It's always the fun part. So, number 1 was how much money you are comfortable with right now during your working years every month.
Absolutely.
Okay. Question number 2 is how much money will you be comfortable with during your retirement? And here's another sad thing about retirement. I just thought about this as I was saying it. Some people, and y'all are probably going to think I'm crazy, but I noticed that some people don't expect to live long. And when you start thinking about retirement, I don't think people understand that you can be retired for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So I think it really throws some people off when we say you got to plan for retirement. You need this much money. You need this much money. We can even give an example about somebody that has $100,000 saved for their retirement. How long you going to make it off of $100,000, you guys, if you are not working and you were used to making $30,000 a year?
Absolutely. And that's good. That's good. You got any more? Because I got to add
I mean, I knew you was going to add on to it.
Yeah.
Because I really want y'all to think about this, because sometimes, somebody told me you have to break this thing down into like baby steps. You have to break this information down to where anybody can understand. You guys, unless you plan on working 20, 30 years, retiring, and then dying in 2 years, you need more money. You need more money set aside. This is why we talk so much about not only saving, you guys. You have to understand you're not going to earn much interest with only having your money in the bank. Okay. I know I'm kind of giving you a lot right now, but I had to take a step back before I went to step number 3 and really explain to you guys what retirement could consist of. And it's so crazy because, again, we're young, and this just dawned on us. And this is why we're so serious about planning for retirement. Unless you plan on living 2 years after you've worked forever, you got to have more money. And so this is why we're big on putting that money somewhere where it's going to grow, somewhere where it's going to sit. I was just explaining this to my sister, you guys. She's only 21. Okay. But we've been working a lot on her finances, y'all. And she is not easy to coach. She is not easy to coach at all. But I really had to get her to understand the importance of putting your money somewhere where it's going to grow long term. not money that you're going to take out when you have a flat tire. That's what you have your emergency fund for, right? You need to have that fully funded before you really start working on your retirement. If you're going to work 20 years, 30 years, some people even longer than that, every single year you should have a portion of your money working. You should be putting a portion of your paycheck away. It should be working, and it should sit there the entire life of you working, or until you hit retirement age. All right. Right now, we don't even know what retirement age is because they keep moving it. Some of you guys will work until you're 70, until you're 80. And I know I sound mean, but I'm honest. Some of y'all will work till you are 70 or 80 years old, and then it's going to register. The Smiths was talking about this on that little radio show thing that they were doing. Okay, so you really need to take everything that we're saying into account, and you really need to ask yourself these questions. I know you wanted to get on it, so I'm not going to give them number 3 yet.
Yo, you got to ask yourself these questions, and this is the thing. Like she said, as it relates to retirement and the age, and, people going to end up working well beyond the years that they thought they would have to. You got to understand, life is not about just working a job. There's nobody who has made it to their deathbed and said, man, I just wish I could have worked one more day. I wish I could have put in another set of overtime. Nobody has ever said that in history. They may have felt as though they wish they could have given more value or did certain things that they didn't do, but not just clocking in. So since life is not about just working a job, then you need to put yourself in a position to where you no longer need your job, or when you are at the age that you're comfortable with retiring, now you at least have money working for you, so you no longer have to go into the workforce, and you can spend your retirement years and actually make them golden. You see, a lot of times people call it the golden years, but it's not so golden for most people, because most people haven't set themselves up to have that golden feeling that comes with, or could come with, retirement. And like she said, a lot of times people don't feel as though they're going to live long. You got to understand, life is long if you live it right. I know they say life is short, but it's actually long if you live it right. If you fill it up with a lot of good things, a lot of good memories, a lot of good contributions to the world, and you're staying youthful, you're taking care of yourself, life can actually be long, but you have to live it right. So there are people who don't feel as though they're going to live too much longer after their retirement. They feel they get midlife crisis. There's people who have a midlife crisis at the age of 20 because they feel like, 60 is just the oldest age in the world. But this is what you got to understand. When you retire, if you have $100,000, that may sound like a lot of money to you, but, in all actuality, it won't go far. Imagine if you made $30,000, $40,000 per year, that $100,000 will only last 2 to 3 years at most. 2 to 3 years. And now if you retired at the age of 60, now you're age 63 with nothing. Who wants to go back into the workforce at the age of 63 after feeling as though they were retired from the workforce for good? Nobody. And this is what you got to understand. Most jobs and most systems that are already set in place are not positioning you to be able to fully retire comfortably without having to go back into the workforce. Most people are retiring into poverty. And to touch on the age, my grandfather, he retired from a job. He worked there for at least 30 years. He retired from that particular job, and he lived to age 92. Imagine if he was just only basing his retirement on, $100,000. If he didn't have something in place for those, he outlived. So if he retired at age 60, he lived 3 decades and 2 years outside of that. But he was good to go because the system that he had set in place was the pensions that were provided by the jobs. Not all jobs have pensions, and the ones that do are slowly withering away. So he caught it at a good time. He caught it right there in that magic moment to where he was able to work for a certain amount of years, and he got all of his retirement. Most people live a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years after their retirement. He lived longer than the years he worked for the company, and he always continued to get paid. So the question is, you never know how long you're going to live, but you want to be in a position financially so you're not 70 and 80 and trying to figure out how to do it. It all starts now. So understand that life is long if you live it right, and we all plan to live forever, but we have to plan today for tomorrow. So I had to add that because, my grandfather, he kind of broke the mold.
This is what I'm saying.
Go for it.
You know I had a joke about your granddad.
Hey, go for it. I ain't mad at granddad.
I mean, they were literally paying this man to live. Like, they were paying him for being alive.
Yeah.
Like, literally, he was cutting into somebody else's money.
30, yeah, he outlived the time that he worked for that particular job.
He worked 30 years. He retired and then passed until 32 years later.
32 years later.
Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. He was cutting into somebody else's money. Okay, I know this job was like, this man, he only worked for us for 30 now. We paying him 2 more years. This is getting out of hand. Okay, but let me stop. Y'all are real quiet, okay? Y'all are real quiet. I need to see some thumbs, some hearts, some laughing faces. Y'all having a good day? It's Thursday. This is pre-Friday, right?
Absolutely. A lot of the energy increases when it gets closer to Friday.
Yeah.
Something about that.
Y'all should be amped up. We need some balloons or something coming across the screen. Okay, so for real, y'all, there we go. Number 3 is, and this one is big. A lot of people don't feel like this is big, but it is. What age at the latest do you plan on retiring? What age at the latest do you plan on retiring? Now, here's the thing. We have a system that we typically have everyone to plug into. Okay. And this system, literally, you put in all of your numbers. You put how much money you want during retirement. You list all of your expenses. You list everything as it pertains to retirement. How much money do you have invested long term? How much money do you expect to be paid by pensions and Social Security and things of that nature? Okay. So you have all of these questions. Then it asks you, what age at the latest do you plan on retiring? And here's the thing. People are so quick that when they feel like they know, but they really don't know. Okay. Because a lot of us say, oh, I know when I want to retire. I don't want to work after 50, so they plug in 50 or, oh, I know for a fact I want to retire a little bit early, not too early, about 48, so they plug in 48. Mm-hmm. And then the system says, hey, you need this much money in order for you to retire comfortably at that age. And it always causes people to take a step back.
Absolutely. Because
they weren't prepared for that answer. See, they thought they could just plug in a number when they're going to retire. They thought they could just make it happen. It doesn't work like that if you are not financially prepared. We have a mentor, and we share a lot of his stuff, so y'all will see it on our page. We have a mentor that retired at the age of 22. 22. He is in his 40s, you guys. He has been self-employed for 21 years. So I'm saying this today. 21 years, okay? So I want you to think about this. What Marcus said earlier, retirement is not based on age. It is based on money. And so all of these questions that we're asking and all of these questions that this system asks, it is positioning you to retire when you want to retire, to be comfortable and to have enough money. But again, you have to put in the work.
Got to put in the work. Work is the key piece to the puzzle. And this is what you got to understand. Not only does it tell you the amount you need when you retire, it's also letting you know this is what you need to be contributing into your investments on a month-to-month basis. Based on what you're putting in on a month-to-month basis, this is the rate of return you should be seeking on a consistent basis in order for your money to grow into the amount you need to retire. So if your number was $6,000 per month that you need, it's a good chance you'll need over $600,000 in your investments. See, a lot of times you got to understand that when you retire, they say that you need 10 times the amount you were making during your working career in order to be comfortable. So if a person was making $50,000 and that's what they're comfortable with, then they need over $500,000 in retirement or in investments in order to be comfortable. So you might as well start aiming for, high numbers. But it also boils down to what are you doing on a month-to-month basis? How are you putting your money in a position to grow to that? Now, as it relates to the age, we said retirement was based on age, or not based on age, it's based on money. So if you feel like 60 is a good age, then okay, let's work out the numbers so you can retire comfortably at that age. But don't limit yourself. If you're one of those people, you're like, look, I want to retire by age 50. I want to retire by age 45, age 40. Then that's okay. It's doable. We know people who have done enough stuff within a 7-year time frame that they literally don't have to do any more work if they don't choose to, because they position themselves correctly. Now, like she ended with, it all requires you to go to work. So if you have some things in place, it may not be investments that'll take you there. It might be your own inner assets, your own talents, your own gifts, your own business endeavors that get you to the age of retiring, or retiring at an early age of 40, 45, 50. But you have to take the action. You have to put in the work, and you have to understand that if you're young, you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s. These are the times, sometimes you have to position yourself to take risks, to be able to overcome obstacles, to be able to, do certain things that you're not probably going to be willing to do when you're 40 or when you're 50. So take those chances, take those risks, but invest your money during the process, grow your wealth and assets during the process, so that way you can say you gave it your all and you can still make it happen in a timely fashion. So no matter what the age is, if you don't want to work past 40, set that goal for it, but make sure your actions match your goals. See, a lot of times you set these goals, but your actions don't match. You're not putting in other things to make that happen. If you're only doing it at a job or feeling like I'm gonna work overtime and I'm gonna just only save, a lot of times saving doesn't cut it. You have to have other streams, other things in place working for you in order to make it to where you reach those goals. You don't want to be the only one doing all of the work. Your money needs to be doing some work. Some assets that you accumulate, needs to be doing some work. Some of your business endeavors need to be generating some type of passive or leverage income. All of these things play a part that can help expedite the time frame to which you retire. So ask yourself again, what age at the latest am I comfortable with retiring? Whatever that age is, put it in, work out the game plan to make it happen. It all takes action.
And you guys, we're talking about retirement, okay? We're talking about retirement. There's a lot of things that could be holding you back right now from retiring when you want to retire, okay? You brought up, the fact that, I'm just going to say this. A lot of times we have too much debt to be thinking about retiring at a certain age, you guys, because there's, again, things that you need to get in order before you really go in on retiring when you want to, with the amount of money that you need. You need to come up with a game plan as well to start paying off that debt. For a lot of you guys, you need to change your circle. We could talk about retirement all day. We could tell y'all all of our success stories. We could tell you about business ownership, the good, the bad, the ugly. We could tell you exactly how to repair your own credit. But if you are in this circle of people, your friends, your family, if they are toxic and they are not in the same mind frame that you're in, how the heck are you going to get ahead? And you still kicking it with these people every week or every month. Okay, so sometimes we have to reevaluate ourselves, and sometimes that circle of people can cause us to quit on ourselves. We talk to the quitters real fast, because there are people, we see people, you guys, come and go. People who say, I want this so bad, begging and just giving us their long story of how they're in such a horrible place financially. We give them a game plan. 30 days, they just fell off the face of the earth. 15 days, fell off the face of the earth. They are gone. Okay. You quit on yourself. It doesn't bother us because we're focused. We're laser focused on what we want to do in the Smith household. You need to be laser focused on what you want to do in your household, in the Johnson household, in the Jones, or what, whatever last name you have. You need to really focus. Your circle is the main thing. Another thing that you stated, you guys, if you're only working a job, you have to understand jobs are not secure. You can't only rely on a job. This is when, reality needs to hit. A lot of y'all sit around and watch the news every single morning. I say the news is really, really negative. We can argue about that later. But you see over and over and over again layoffs happening, businesses closing their doors. You see people getting fired left and right. You have these companies, these corporations that do not care whatsoever about you, your health, your family's health. They don't care about any of that. Yet you're saying, I'm going to use all of my energy. I'm going to go in and work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I'm going to give this job my all. If they were to close their doors, what are you going to do? You always need multiple streams, and you don't have to listen to us. I say this all the time in videos. This is so funny. You don't have to listen to us, you guys. We have available to you, we have available to all of us what's called the World Wide Web, okay? The World Wide Web, aka the internet, where you can literally just look it up, Google it, do your research. As a matter of fact, some of the most wealthiest people that you love to see on TV, right? Because we're watching people who are already wealthy, yet we're not working on our wealth. Research some of those people that you like to watch on TV. Almost every single one of them will tell you you need multiple streams of income. You need something coming in outside of a job. Nothing wrong with the job. We work jobs, right?
Absolutely.
We work jobs, you guys, before we quit. And those jobs were really instrumental into helping us, pay off bills and helping us to, be comfortable. But we realize you need something outside of a job. And that's all we're trying to get you guys to see.
Absolutely, absolutely. Most definitely. Couldn't have said it better myself. And what you got to understand is use your job as a strategy. Mm-hmm. See, strategically use your job. If you're working there, you're working a lot of time, or you're working overtime, make sure you have a game plan for your money. Make sure you have a game plan for the other time that you're using outside of work. You see, a lot of times when people get off work, they feel like the day is over. They kick their feet up. But you got to use those after hours. And like she said, as you study certain people who have the success or the level of success that you desire and deserve, they put in work overtime on their businesses. A lot of times they didn't get a lot of sleep during the times that they were actually grinding it out, but it positioned them to retire at an age that most people wish they could. So you have to understand that. Make sure you're using your job as a stepping stone and don't work there until you finally receive your tombstone. It's a big difference in the mentality. And like she was saying about the circle of people, the people that you're around, as it relates to being royalty, as it relates to accomplishing your goals, having some form of financial stability, it all starts in the mind. So if you're not thinking correctly, then you're not going to take the proper actions. That's why it's important for you to tune in to shows like this or tune in to things that are empowering you. Because if your mindset is corrupted by the news or the negativity that you see around you, then your actions will reflect it, or your lack of actions will reflect it. So it'll lead you to not taking action because you're not thinking correctly. So you have to start changing that. Royalty starts in the mindset, and how you think determines everything. I promise you, I can't stress the importance of you being able to control your mind, your subconscious mind, and what you feeding yourself. Ask yourself, what are you feeding yourself? A lot of times we scroll this timeline and we're tuned into everybody else's life, and everybody takes these selfies and makes it look as everything, it looks as though everything is peachy keen, but in actuality, they have some of the same struggles as everybody else in America. We know this to be true because statistics show and history shows, and the things that are happening when people are let go of their jobs, it shows because they're not financially prepared. So don't just scroll the timeline without focusing on what you can do to change the timeline or the duration that you're working a job so you can retire and live a life abundantly and comfortably. Now, as it relates to those jobs, a lot of jobs won't even be around 20 or 30 years from now.
Man.
Just based on the speed to which technology is moving and the things that people are doing to innovate certain industries and putting people that we thought would be in business forever out of business completely. You got to understand that a lot of these jobs, and you might just want to kind of take a cold hard look at your job and say, is my job replaceable? Can they replace me with a computer, with a robot, with some type of, artificial intelligence, the AI? That's what I was thinking about. Man. Can they replace my job with some type of artificial intelligence of any kind? And if so, then you definitely want to be doing something outside of the job, so that way you can leverage the income that you're making from your job, as well as the income that you create through the other assets or business endeavors that you pursue. Keep that in mind. So the circle definitely matters. The mindset matters. And you made me think of something when you were talking about the circle of people that you're around.
Yes.
As it relates to us helping people, look, we just want to give you the knowledge and give you and lead you to the water. But if you don't drink, then that means you're not thirsty enough. But we don't want to force you or push you into financial success, because if we're forcing you or pushing you to accomplish your goals, then that slows us down. Yes. So you have different people, and this came from our mentor as well. You know, it's a difference between a sheep herder and a shepherd. Ooh. You see, a sheep herder is corralling all of the sheep, trying to get everybody to, to success. Like, hey, trying to feel as though that they are responsible for everyone else's success, not realizing that it's hindering them from making more progress. Imagine if you're trying to herd up sheep and you're gathering them together and your destination is way far off. It'll take you a long time to get to that destination because you're too busy trying to herd the sheep. But when you have the mindset of a shepherd, when you say, look, I'm going to the goal so I can lead by example. I'm going to reach success so that I can show them that it was possible. Now you just lead the pack and you're heading in that direction, and those who want to follow, they will follow, and they will take their own initiative to get to the promised land that they say that they want. So every now and then, as a shepherd, you just look back and see who's still with you. All right, y'all still with me? Cool. I'm keeping it moving. Y'all still with me? Certain people will fall off, but for the ones who take the initiative, yes, they'll be right there with you. So it's a difference between a sheep herder and a shepherd. You got to develop the shepherd mentality so you can keep pushing through no matter what, and just see who's still rocking with you. And those who are still with you, now y'all can have an even bigger celebration because they understood the journey, the process, because they were following along your footsteps and taking their own initiative, because it all starts with you at the end of the day.
And the church says, amen. All right. So you guys, and I'm just going to piggyback off of that because that was some good energy flowing through here. You have to understand that we live in a microwave society.
Yes, we do.
Everybody wants success so fast.
Yes.
And that's why we see so many people work with us and quit. Okay. Because you want success so fast. And for one, you can't even honestly say that you put in the time or the work in order to get that success. Like, you could tell a person that's hungry. You could tell a person that's really like starving for success. They literally transform overnight. You work with them within a matter of days. They're plugging into every single training. They're applying things. They're getting their money in order. They're cutting back. I mean, it's instantly changing everything from their mindset to their income. And then you have some other people who say they want success, who say that they want better, but your actions don't show that. Okay. It's funny because I was watching and we listen to a lot of mindset training.
All the time.
I mean, a lot. No radio really. I can't tell you the last time we listened to a radio, but radio, watch TV. We don't do those type of things. We're always plugging into people that are where we want to be. And I actually heard this one trainer say, every entrepreneur wants to be a millionaire. Right?
Right.
Every single entrepreneur, if you ask them, I want to make $1 million. I want to make $1 million. But a lot of them aren't even making, $20,000 a year. $30,000 a year, yet we keep saying we want to be a millionaire. What are you going to do to make that possible? Okay. We're giving you all of the tools. What are you going to do with those tools? And here's another thing that I wanted to say, because I don't want that word to scare you, because instantly somebody was thinking, well, I don't want to be a millionaire.
Right.
You don't have to want to be a millionaire, you guys, because it's not solely about being a millionaire or solely about just the money. Success can also just be happiness. Going back to what you said about people on their deathbed, I did see a video that stated, a person who works in like the nursing homes or, that field. And they were saying they see people on their deathbeds all the time, and trying to gain that wisdom. They always ask, what is something that you wish you would have done? What is something that you wish you would have had? And almost every single one of them said that they wish they would have spent more time with their family. They wish they wouldn't have been working so much, being away from them. They wish that they would have been building their own empires, opposed to doing it for somebody else. So happiness is right up there with what we're seeing, you guys. Life is all about experiences, and it's all about happiness, and it's all about, being around the people that you love. You need to just shift your mindset altogether in order to gain these things. All right. I see some hearts coming across the screen. Y'all like that, huh? But seriously, it's bigger than being a millionaire. Sometimes you just want to be comfortable. You just don't want to have any financial hardships. You don't want to have any struggles. You want to be able to pay what you pay when you pay it. You want all your bills paid on time. If you decided, okay, I want to take a trip this month, you have money to take that trip while you're there. You can splurge a little bit and you're just happy. Some people, it's not about being a millionaire, you guys. It's about being in a good place that you can do what you want to do, where you can be and spend time with the people that you love most, okay, where you can be that support system for them. So it's bigger than just the money. But money is a huge factor, okay? Because you got to get that in order to do these things.
Absolutely. And see, it's like they always say, success, I ain't going to say they, but some wealthy people say, look, being wealthy or being rich is all perspective. It's all about what you deem as being successful, all about what you deem as being rich or wealthy. It's just the ability to be able to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it, with whom you want to do it with. So whatever that number is for you. But a lot of people who actually make it to millionaire status, they realize, look, I thought $1 million was something. That's really nothing. I can really do more, because when you go further, you naturally are able to see a little bit farther. So don't stray away from being a millionaire, because you got to understand we live in an abundant world. It's the lack within us that makes us feel like achieving millionaire status is so far-fetched. It's the lack within us that makes us slow down or not fight or push towards accomplishing certain goals, or settle for what we feel we're capable of achieving, or we feel like if we're doing better, then we're taking away from somebody else. No, the world was created in abundance. So that means there's no lack, there's no limitations. Preach. So if you understand that, then you can expand your vision and strive for whatever goal you want it to be. And you'll be one of those who strive, make it to a millionaire status, and realize, okay, I can do more based on whatever it is you want to do. And see, once you got the money out of the way, you realize it never was about the money anyway. It was about the journey. It was about the person you were becoming in that process, and the people that you helped along the way during that process. Because sometimes you have to become a level of success, or you have to become the millionaire status, or very wealthy, or have that abundance around you, just so you can serve as a representation to somebody who's watching you, to prove that you can do it too. You see, sometimes us being successful is not just for us. It's just showing somebody who actually knew us or grew up with us that they could do it as well. So you got to understand what you're doing as an individual, what you're doing for people who are around you, what you're doing for the people who are watching you. And it all starts with you first adjusting that mindset so you can make it to whatever goals you want to accomplish. And like you said about the nursing homes, the last thing you want to have is a lot of regret. You see a lot of people who are in those nursing homes, it's like they're filled with regret, and it fuels people who understand that one day, you will reach an age to where you're like, wow, did I matter? Did what I do throughout life fulfill any purpose? Do I have a ton of regrets? So you need to limit your regrets. And that's what we're all about. We focus and target the money because we understand that the money is something you want to get behind you, because now if the money is behind you, then there's little to nothing stopping you from getting to other things that you want to accomplish. Money is just a simple tool, a great tool when you use it and put it to work. So let's get the money behind us. Once we get the money behind us, then all the other things in life will find us.
Yes. I mean, living life with no regret, you guys. When we had the twins, I mean, we just completely fell in love all over again. So like, every single thing we do is always about them, us wanting a good life for them, us wanting them to experience things that we wish we could have experienced, taking them along the journey with us. I highly doubt we would regret spending too much time with them. There's no better feeling than like being there, like egg them on, walking for the first time and crawling for the first time and saying their first words and reading books. If y'all see our 3-year-olds, they're smart. Okay. They read books, and I'm not just saying that, but there's no better feeling than that. And I honestly don't feel like we would regret spending so much time with them and catching all of those first milestones. A lot of people, that's some of their first regrets, is that they didn't catch those things. They had to rely on a daycare or somebody to tell them, oh, guess what? Your kid was walking today. Okay, so we're going to leave you guys with that. Don't forget about the 3 questions.
Recap.
I mean, literally, in a little journal on your break, tonight when you get off of work, when you make it home and settle in, really think about these 3 questions and jot it down. Then come up with a game plan on what you're going to do to make it happen. Question number 1, how much money do you desire right now during your working years every month? So every month, what amount are you happy with? Question number 2, how much money will you be happy with during retirement, okay? After the job is over, okay? And then number 3, at what age, at the latest, do you plan on retiring, okay? Jot those things down and work on your game plan, all right? We are always here. Our page is just full of knowledge. We're giving you steps to make it possible. Go back and look at our other videos where we gave you examples on ways to increase your cash flow, and we're going to close it up.
Absolutely. Incorporate those things. Ask those questions, because those questions will lead to answers. And
Yes.
hopefully those answers lead to you taking some action, because we live in a world where we're conditioned for failure and oftentimes program the food into mediocrity. You see, so people find themselves living like peasants instead of the royalty that they were meant to be. But you see here, we are royalty. We see the king in you. We see that queen in you from start to finish. It's time to take your seat on the throne, because this is where we uplift your character, your confidence, and your cash flow. As royalty, you should establish a solid financial foundation that will soon lead to your abundance and thriving empire. Take your seat on the throne. We are royalty. Salute.
All right.